Good evening, friends. This side Rahul Magan here is a Group Chief Executive Officer, Treasury Consulting, and also a venture capitalist. Now, standing today on 15th October 2019, we are going to be shooting a pretty interesting topic on venture capitalist. As you know that we are also a venture capitalist, and we are not like few people in this industry whose job is to mess it up. In the last week in the venture capitalist industry was the most, I would say, the excited week we have. You know that Treasury Consulting keeps an eye on most of the things, and one of the things we keep an eye is on the VC desk, right? Now, before taking this, I would like to give you a story. Although I believe on this story since when I was in the school. Long ago, somebody told me that if you really wanted to be successful, you have to follow the great people. And then he told that the great people are those people, those who create. You know, like Steve Jobs, like Bill Gates, like Warren Buffett and all. Can I call the founder, the current chairperson of the SoftBank as a great person? He was the richest man of the world for 3 days before the dot-com bubble. And according to the few reports on the internet, around 97% of his wealth was eroded in the dot-com bubble. And I will not, shy that he also created another bubble in the internet industry. And this bubble is nothing but the venture capitalist bubble. But now more or less he realized that this bubble would surely be taking his bank down. We got 3 different news, and we're going to be deliberate this news in detail. We don't worry what people think about us, because we know one thing, that we are heading towards a crash. The recession in this globe is maximum 5 to 7 months away. Probably max to max, if central banks will start cutting the rate or moving towards a highly accommodative policy just like Reserve Bank of India, you can maximum defer recession probably by another 1 year, but maybe sooner or later the recession would be coming, that's for sure. That's also a fact. Well, before reading this newspaper, today we got a news that SoftBank wanted to wind up the Vision Fund second, which is a $100 billion fund. We are not taking any responsibility of this information, as this information comes from the interbank market, but there are 3 different information that currently on the newspaper. As you can see that I have 3 different newspapers with me, which is 1, 2 and 3, in which we are going to see that how the 3 different information on the 3 different dates are giving us the 3 different knowledge. 99% of the people in this world do not have time to read one business newspaper in a day, and I am reading business newspapers not only at 2:30 a.m. in the morning, but also link each newspaper with that. This is my way of doing. Now, today newspaper talk that you can see that you do not say that I am talking from my side, right? It is that SoftBank urges portfolio firms to focus on profitability first and IPO later. Okay. Humbled by the recent experiences with its 2 major bets, Uber and WeWork, SoftBank Chief Executive Masayoshi Son is urging global and Indian companies in his portfolio to sharpen their focus on the earnings before venturing into the IPO. Wait a minute, from where the earnings will come? You inculcated the habits in your kid. So example, there is a kid of 6 months old, boy or girl, doesn't matter. You letting this kid having chocolates, you letting this kids having soft drinks, you letting this kids not to play, do exercise, basically to play with his or her friends in the park. You let this kid, whatever he demands, it's right upfront before him or her. And now all of a sudden you went to the kid and said that, boss, wait, no chocolates, no soft drinks, you have to play in the park to be fit, and more importantly, whatever you're demanding, you will not get. So roughly 90% or maybe 99% of your demands are rounded off, they are gone. Now this kid would be mad. Within 10 seconds, he will see, boss, what happened? What happened? It was you who inculcated me the habit of chocolate and the soft drink. I never asked for that. It was SoftBank who was having the policy of capturing the market share at the cost of profits. We have several companies in the portfolio of the SoftBank, and SoftBank inculcated a habit in the venture capitalist space, not only in India but worldwide, that the market share is more important than the profitability. And that is the reason why Uber lost roughly $5.2 billion in the last quarter, which several companies not even earned in their entire lifespan. Can Uber found, whatever the name of the Uber chairperson right now or a CEO, can he afford to lose $5.2 billion company? $5.2 billion provided the company is a cash rich company. If you stop funding to Uber right now, they will get bankrupt in less than 1 year. And do you know that at a point of time, Uber was having a private valuation of $100 billion. At the time of the listing, the valuation came down to $75 billion, and today it is less than $50 billion, which practically means that around less than approximately closer to 50% or somewhere closer to 52-53% of drawdown in less than 6 or 7 months. But the story has not yet ended. The change in the investment strategy of the SoftBank Vision Fund 2 is already being felt by the portfolio companies in India. In mid-September, for instance, when Ritesh Agarwal, founder of India's second most valued unicorn, Ritesh Agarwal is seriously running a Ponzi scheme in oil. Because every company is terming itself as a tech company. WeWork is a tech company. Oyo is a tech company, but the model of both Oyo and WeWork is approximately same. The only difference between WeWork and Oyo is that WeWork is actually on a co-working node. Basically, it is for the startups. It is for the people, those who cannot afford office, or maybe they can afford office, but they wanted to work with more people, right? While Oyo is in the hospitality segment, especially in the hotels. The situation is more or less the same. But both are tech companies and both are unicorn. Like at a point of time, WeWork was valued roughly $48 billion and now it is less than $3 billion. But anyways, Oyo is a unicorn. Don't worry. Let Ritesh Agarwal do his Ponzi scheme. Why? Regulators are sleeping, oblique paid, or maybe both. Because without the help of the regulator, how can a company who never touched 1,000 crores of top line, it's going to be over 10 billion valuation company, and that too in losses. Which business valuation principle of the globe supporting that a company who is nowhere closer to 1,000 crore revenue in a year and alongside in a dip in the losses is able to 10 billion. And do you know that there is another there is another co-working company which we have, which is known as FIS. In internet we call FIS as the India co-working giant or the king of India co-working. I was today reading one of the articles about FIS, and it suggests that FIS is having a revenue of 18 crore something and they have a loss of 27 crore. And you don't trust me that the way they presented the article, it was like that FIS is bigger than Apple. It is bigger than Apple. And you know, one more Ponzi which is happening from Sachin Bansal's side is that Sachin Bansal is investing heavily in the non-banking financial corporation. He has already taken a control of one non-banking financial corporation in the Bangalore, and more importantly what he is doing now, the report suggests that he took a control on the SL Mutual Fund. I tell you one thing, that the valuation of SL Mutual Fund now would be more than the valuation of Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan and Citi together. So together if you add three top, Goldman, JP and Citi, the valuation of SL Mutual Fund would be more than that. But the AUM, asset under management of the SL Mutual Fund, would not even be worth by 1 million of these three banks are holding. The real beauty you will get to know about the skill set of Sachin Bansal is that how he managed the non-banking financial corporation. They people just messed it up, but the story has not yet ended as yet. Now this suggests that, now let's come back to the main topic. Sun said recently that he was embarrassed and flustered by his track record following the debacle of his two top bets, which is Uber and WeWork. There are multiple in the cards. SoftBank portfolio firm WeWork, an office leasing company, withdrew its IPO on the 30th September. Another portfolio company, Uber, saw a tepid debut on the New York Stock Exchange. The ride-hailing company saw a private valuation as much as 76 billion. It is wrong. It was closer to 100 billion. It is wrongly stated before it went public, but currently it has the market value of less than $49 billion. SoftBank damages from Uber and WeWork could be $5 billion according to a report published 9th October in the Bloomberg. It means that they could get a hit of $5 billion, but I'm damn sure that the hit is more than that. It is not 5 billion, it is more than that, provided if we carefully value this. So the one side of the story which is coming is that SoftBank and WeWork, SoftBank Vision Fund is all set to close. This is what Interbank is suggesting. SoftBank has set the portfolio firm to be profitable. How can portfolio firm be profitable within a short span of time? We really need to see. It's a challenging job which we need to see. Forget challenging, it is impossible, we need to see. More importantly, the venture capitalist across India is now running another risk which is known as concentration risk. That we're going to talk later. But before that, let me read this which is today's newspaper, which states that the most visionary person of the globe, Devanshu Datta, he wrote an article in Business Standard today. WeWork is a case study and an object lesson for investor not to buy into stories without looking for the reality behind the hype. Wait a minute. WeWork was not a reality even from the first day. He or she is an idiot if they calling WeWork as a tech company. WeWork was never be a tech company. Oyo was never be a tech company. They only make, if you're creating an app and based upon that app you're calling yourself as a tech company, then I'm sorry, you're nowhere closer to a tech company. More importantly, it suggests that when it filed his IPO in April 2019, it had over 5,000 employees. I'm sure over 1,000 employees will go. With $48 billion of long-term leases tied up in 32 countries. $48 billion of long-term leases. If you're going to value this under IFRS 17, I don't know what is the present value of that because I do not have any details of any of the lease contract they sign. The lease contracts are of several types. I don't have even a singlest detail of a singlest lease contract they sign. But the end result is very clear that if you're going to take the present value of the lease contract, then it would be far less than maybe closer to 3 billion, 4 billion, maybe less than that. I don't know about that. But it would be lesser. More importantly, the scrutiny of the prospector and the financial revealed huge conflicts of interest, mostly involving CEO Adam, had borrowed roughly $360 million from the company, which he returned later. He had 500 million credit line from companies secured by his shareholding. Perfect. He pledged his share in the company to borrow from the company. And this is what Ritesh Agarwal is doing right now. I don't know you understood it or not. This is similar thing Ritesh Agarwal is doing right now. Pre-IPO, Newman has already sold equity to his personal stake for 700 million. He wanted 20:1 lock on the voting rights post-IPO with his shares carrying 20 votes each. He personally owned the V trademark and the company paid millions to license it from him before he relinquished it. So ultimately seen is that there is a big mess which is happening. Now the financials show 2008 loss at 1.9 billion US dollar on a revenue of 1.8 billion. On a revenue of 1.8 billion, you lost 1.9 billion dollar. Only a unicorn can do this. Losses exceed revenue. According to an analyst by the Financial Times, WeWork losing 219 US dollars, 219,000 US dollars every hour in a day, every hour. But still this company is a unicorn. Now the last is that the company was committed to paying a cumulative 48 billion of long-term lease. 48 billion of long-term lease. It expected to log about 4 billion in 2019 revenue. How it would be 4 billion, we do not know. But see the gravity of the media. Our media is still making WeWork as a case. Now coming back to the second part of the story. The second part of the story is this, which is the most innovative leaders of the globe. None other than Vijay Shekhar Sharma. Because except Vijay Shekhar Sharma, no one can be the most innovative leader. This award can only go to Vijay Shekhar Sharma. Now see this. First see this. We work a lesson as there is no unlimited supply of anything. Mr. Vijay Shekhar Sharma is giving you the guidance when he is the only person who know how to change the goal as well as the goal post. But irrespective of that, he is giving you guidance, so please be rest assured. Now the guidance is Payments Bank as a business model is viable. Very good. Payment Bank is very viable. That is the reason you are number 3. You got a heads up, you got $1 billion funding, irrespective Google and PhonePe. Google Pay is number 1, PhonePe is number 2, and you are number 3. Very good. Payment Bank as a business model is viable because it makes a lot of sense it to become a small finance bank. Very good. Which the RBI has introduced for consultants. It is a step in the right direction. It will bring more support to the revenue model of the payment bank. Excellent. Now see this. Vijay Shekhar Sharma is talking it about now see this paragraph. There is a question being asked that there are reports that Paytm is planning to acquire Yes Bank. Are there is any discussion? Now see what he said. As an entrepreneur in a build versus buy universe. As an entrepreneur in a build versus buy universe, I have been a build person. What do you build? What do you build? You build a company Paytm which is in the losses. You build a company Paytm who never saw profits. You build a company Paytm who secured more than 4,200 crores of losses last year. You build a company Paytm who secured billions of dollars of funding from Walmart, SoftBank and multiple Alibaba and all, and irrespective of that you are number 3. You build a company who is losing the revenue, who is losing the market share every year. You build a company that when the Google Pay is less than 1 year old in India and the way they're working and they are now the number 1 fintech app downloaded in the globe. This is what you build, and this is our bloody media and this is our bloody people. You call this as a leaders, that they are openly saying lying that this is what you build. Do you know that Paytm having 0 business in Singapore? They have no business in Malaysia. They have no business in US. They are nowhere. The actual build is by Google. 18 years before, Google stands nowhere. Now see, can you survive without Google? You have Google Assistants, you have Google app and what not. God knows, maybe 2 years down the line, Google will have their own Google TV. And I'm not sure why Google is not coming up with the Google TV. When Apple is already in the space, when we have Apple TV. Now these people are actually coming on the first page of the newspapers, wherein they are saying that basically we I would say, we make them as a leader. It's 4,200 crores of loss reported last year, but they are leader. They are build versus buy people. Build versus buy. Anyways, now let's move to the third part of the video, which is the concentration risk. So even the third class business school of the globe, which is IIM Ahmedabad. I know many people do not like and they will do the thumbs down to our YouTube video. Who cares? It's already a 1,000+ video channel. When the third class business school of the globe, which is IIM Ahmedabad, and remember that IIM Ahmedabad never be in the top 100 B schools of the globe. And if you don't mind, you go and download their magazine Vikalpa. You will get to know where exactly IIM Ahmedabad stand, where is the caliber of the IIM Ahmedabad stand. Now the moral of the story is that IIM Ahmedabad is even the third class business schools like IIM Ahmedabad, they are teaching which is known as a concentration risk. So in English, the concentration risk sometimes also means the thematic risk. Now concentration means you are too much thematic in nature. Just like in 2008, there were several mutual funds, those who were real estate thematic. Now often we see that when in India that number of mutual funds were having substantial exposure in ILFS, infrastructure leasing, divan housing and all. Now everyone advising that concentration risk is the most I would say potent risk a person is taking, because if it implodes, If it implodes, then you are gone. Then no one can save you. This is how the concentration risk actually works. But venture capitalists across the globe, they have decided, and specifically in India, they have decided to take the concentration risk, and it's an example. The last week we got an example that Zomato got $600 million from Ant Financial, 600 million, which is 4,200 crores. Today we got a news that Auto Home, which is a Chinese setup, to lend investment in Car Dekho at 700 million valuation. Loss making company, but 700 million valuation. Now see this. Car Dekho is in talks to raise 100 million in a Series D round led by the Chinese strategic investor Auto Home Inc., placing valuing the online market at $700 million. Loss making company, funding, never been profit but $700 million. Effectively, if we go by the same principle, then car making, then in that sense Apple is $100 trillion company, and Saudi Aramco should be more than $100 trillion company. If such loss making company is $700 billion, then Aramco is getting valued at $2 trillion, which is twice that of Apple. Then I think it is wrong. Investment bankers cannot value Aramco at 2 trillion. They should value Aramco at more than 200 trillion. They have a huge asset base. They are in profits, and they are the most profitable oil company in the globe last year. If we compare with this Paytm, Ola, Uber, then Aramco is $200 trillion. With due respect, Mohammed bin Salem, the Prince Crown, should fight with the investment banker that if these companies can be over $1 billion company who's in the losses, then I am more than $200 trillion company. I think it's a big fraud bankers are doing. They are getting, they valued it less. Now we got another data. This is again in the newspaper. This data suggests that investments in growth stage startup breach 1 billion mark in September. It suggests that investment in the growth stage startups crossed $1 billion mark in September quarter, hit a 4-quarter high. Now the growth stage startup means wherein there is a growth happening. Now where is the growth? No one knows. How can you see growth in Ola, Uber, Zomato, Swiggy, Lenskart, Paytm, Quicker and all? I don't know. Maybe you know. Right? Now it does suggest that in a quarter 1 2018 to quarter 3 2019, which is practically more than 17 months, the total amount of deals, quantity of deals was 46 in quarter 1 2018, and the total quantity of deal in the growth stage startup is again roughly 40. Now a BCom honors person will feel, and the media will tell you like this: India is getting 1 billion plus funding in a growth stage startup only in the September, which is 4-quarter high. Hoo halla, valuation up, and this bloody corrupt media will show you like that. But what is the reality? The reality is that it is a concentration risk. Now let me read this in the writer's way. To be growth stage investment in Indian startup breached $1 billion mark in the first half of the year. Mint reported on 8 July. However, this time funding crossed $1 billion in a single quarter. To be sure, despite more investors in the capital coming, the deal pipeline doesn't seem to be broadened. Right? With only 40 to 45 growth deals in each of the last 8 quarters that data indicate. This is in contrast to the general expectation as the ecosystem matures, more founders at the company will come in. This is called concentration risk. This means that there are conflicting seasons, conflicting numbers, reports which are coming from venture capitalists. To conclude this video. Now, one report coming from venture capitalists is that SoftBank looking to wind up Vision 2. We're not sure, but this report is coming. One report which is already in the media that SoftBank found that the head of the SoftBank, he is not pretty happy the way he is running the show. He himself said that Sun said recently that he was embarrassed and flustered by his track record, following the debacle of his two top bets, which is WeWork and Uber. It also suggests that they're going to have a loss of roughly $5 billion only because of these two. More importantly, he is pushing people to go for profitability rather than go for IPO. I don't know why he not understood this earlier, that profitability matters, not the valuation. And I hope that soon he will realize that he is going to taking a billions of hit in his books, because these companies will not survive if no funding will happen. More importantly, people like Sachin Bansal are investing heavily in the non-banking financial corporation, and this will surely be going down because the way non-banking financial corporation is happening, we all know about that. I have, and last but not the least, it is a concentration risk. Now, the concentration risk means that you have 100 rupees of funding which you are giving only to 4 people, assuming 25 each. The total number of people available who actually need this 100 rupees is more than 30 or 40. So you need to choose, can I give 2 rupees to one person, 3 rupees to another person, something like that, so that I can give the maximum. This is how the venture capitalist world is moving. We see pride once we look Vijay Shekhar Sharma, Ritesh Agarwal, Bhavesh Agarwal, Sachin Bansal, Vinny Bansal and all these people. But actually they are running Ponzi and the valuation game. And now the reality is that once they asked to step down, we need to remember that Sachin Bansal and Vinny Bansal was asked to step down from Walmart. And now where they are investing in NBFCs. And Sachin Bansal, there is no news about Vinny Bansal where he is investing, right? If you look at the people like Vijay Shekhar Sharma, those who are giving public interview and saying that he's a build person, except Einstein, no one know what he built in India. It's all VC money. And they are those who are actually leaders in India. And the young generation will make them as a leader and see leader in that. And end result is the upcoming generation is also running on the same principle, which is valuation principle rather than product principle. With this, we thank you very much. You know my mobile number, which is +91 9899242978. You know our fixed income platform, www.fixedincome.global. Before leaving, you should not forget that our Excel models are around the corner, not very far. And more importantly, now we have a WhatsApp newsletter, which we are circulating to over 1,000+ people almost every day. Today was the first day actually. If you wish to participate in the WhatsApp newsletter, you can participate. It is complimentary. And if you need any such information, visit our fixed income platform, which is www.fixedincome.global. Have a great time and talk soon.